waste their time.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any other announcements? Additions or corrections to the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, under item 2 consent agenda commissioners warrants, I do have add-on warrants this morning dated 11/27 of 23 in the amount of $149,182.07, 149,182.07. And you do have copies of those and all auditors warrants and other warrants from Wednesday last week in your packets. Those are the only additions I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Favor of approving the agenda, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say the sign. That's carried. Now we go to the consent agenda. Warrants. Is there a second? Second. Favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Kyle, Jill, can you hear the speakers back there?
Morning.
Morning.
Good morning. All right, first up to me today, the request to approve LRIP sponsor resolution for the city of Pipestone. Be similar to what we did for Holland a couple weeks ago. They have a project identified with like an application that we in the county. Move the second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Nick, is that resolution 59/34/23? Is that the one? That is the resolution. Okay.
Okay.
That's, yep, I've added that number for it. That's making sure that was the one. I'm sorry, it was out of order in your packet. 59/34/23.
Next up, I have a board action to approve final payment for the 2023 box culvert contract number 1 construction on Marshall. Amount of $62,146.88. 5 projects in that contract. I have a breakdown on the bottom. They came in a little under the original contract amount. Mainly due to erosion control and fencing. Ended up doing their own fencing at the time. Then erosion control, they didn't disturb as much area as we had planned for, so we didn't go as far with the blanket and whatnot, so we saved a little bit of money. Aye. All right, next up for me, must set a bid opening date for our 2024 overlays. Past couple of years, we've had early lettings, and I know, for example, last year that allowed contractor to get moved in for road posting, so. Take them a little bit of time in the spring. They reflect in our bid price. Don't know why not, I guess we don't like the prices. Reject them and rebid it, but I don't anticipate any problems, so. About 16.5 miles worth of overlays. Looking at doing the Valley Road, east of County 18, and then County Road 16 in the Holland area, less what is in town, saving all of our in-town overlay work for, like to do that in conjunction with city utility work. We don't want trenches through new blacktop, and then, let you know, the pricing too. So, the rest of the work is up in the Ruthin area. And this includes that road that we're working with Lyon County on. You'll recall we passed that, approved that agreement a couple weeks ago, I think. They're applying for grants. I don't necessarily. Yeah, correct. Not necessarily. He thought that they would get something one way or another within the next few years for a grant, so. But I couldn't tell you how that world works, because I've never done that, so I don't really know this. Right. If you really look at the map, you can see that there's a little gap through town, and that's why we did that.
Mr. Chair, I move to set line or bid opening at 10:30 on January 23rd.
So for me would be still letting date for 2024 steel quote. There's 3 roads identified there: County Road 9, Crosby to Edgerton, County Road 16 from 9 up to Hatfield, and then County Road 15. Yeah, north of 10. Usually do around 30 miles, but this is kind of how it turned out this year. We have overlays coming up, so that's kind of why that's trimmed down a little bit. Then I put down the same date this time as the overlays. I don't know why we can't accept them all at the same time, and then we just open one and then onto the other. But if you'd feel better like changing this to 10:20 or 10:40 or something, I'm fine with that too.
It's fine.
Okay. Question? Right, and then lastly, I would like to set a bid opening date for our County Road 17 project by Edgerton. Requesting pavement. This is not the paving project. This is center line tile, about 6 inches gravel in there. So that'll be a drastic improvement on that road. Looking at February 13th at 10:30 for bid opening on that one. Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I move to set the bid opening at 10:30 on February 13th.
How does that thing end up to be? Not entirely sure, but I think if you envision a road, how the ditches kind of angle up. When we build it up, it's naturally gonna narrow it up a little bit. Thinking somewhere around 2 feet per lane less when we're done with it. But it'll have crown on it again. Now it's really flat, so it kind of holds water. So when we're done, it's gonna shed water. It'll be really similar to our County Road 15 project. Not sure if you recall that, but if you had from the Dars corner straight south with the pavement ends and Highway 23 across there, that's County Road 15 also. But from there straight down to County Road 2, to have similar problems. We built that up, got some crown on it, tiled it. Doug could probably fill in some more maintenance wise, how much that helps, so. I would agree. So we're kind of using that as a in that plan, you know, to an extent up here. As far as being, you know, narrowed up a little bit, we're kind of doing calculating it backwards, if you will. So we're not closing the door for pavement in the future, but we're not like saying not one of that either, you know. But we're not going to narrow it up so far to where we can't pave it. But it's a really, really wide road.
4 lanes, just about.
Yeah. Yeah. So we can begin to lose a little bit.
Four. Favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried.
All right, that's all I have for today. Any questions for me?
Who's gonna advertise this week? Total price. Oh, that one.
Yep, it'll be center lane tile with gravel. We briefly talked about including it with our overseas. But I don't know, I feel like that might take out some of our local potential bidders. So this was, we plan on this being a standalone project. And I also plan on doing like a bid alternate on this. We'll have essentially 2 bids, one if they haul gravel from our pit and the other if they supply their own. Reason for doing that is their pit's right on the job. That too, but I mean, there's literally 2 other ones right on the project. I don't know how much gravel's left to know. I think it's worth, or I'm sure it's worth our time, at least I want to know, you know, to look at it. Because hauling costs, it might be better, we might be better off purchasing from someone else, even though we have one on yet. So at least this way we'll know. You know, we'll be able to compare the bids and we'll know. So that's our plan.
I think there's kind of a difference.
Hauling's expensive, but this will prove exactly how expensive it is.
Right.
All right.
Thank you.
Personnel? Yep. Morning.
Is I do have a resident approval, Nicola Backer in the fire's office, did resign on November 30th. Approval, board approval. Here since 2011.
Opposed, same sign.
Next, I have some job description updates. So, Stacy has been with these. We went through them together. of, most of them were pretty up to date, but we wanted to, make sure some of them would be similar across the different job descriptions as far as their certification licenses and registrations. The EMT, paramedic, and deputy EMS director, you'll see that that's the main changes there on the second page was just, making sure that their, different certifications are called out, making sure that they know that they're responsible for conducting classes and departmental trainings as needed, which they're currently doing as needed as well. And then the EMS, the deputy EMS, he also does a lot of the orientation and the training. So he's kind of go-to person for that. So that's well. And then the job description with the bigger changes is the EMS office and application coordinator. So the current job title for that position is office assistant paramedic, and that is Danielle Thompson's, our current individual in that position. Her position has taken on a lot of new stuff over the last couple of years as far as the education piece. So they have their own education program out there now. Training the EMT is doing the classes for that. And then developing the curriculum. Obviously, she has like sample curriculum that she uses, but she is kind of the go-to person for developing their curriculum for training EMTs. So Casey wanted to make sure that was reflected in his job description as well. And then we did remove a lot of the veterans job duties because Renee pretty much takes care of those on her own. However, Danielle does still assist with walk-in traffic, taking phone calls, assisting with community outreach and billing vouchers, stuff like that. So we left that in there, but we took out the majority of veterans. And Renee has received this, so she is on the tree. So I would be seeking board approval of the 4 revised jobs today. And I'm open to
February.
No, we're just trying to
Redefine that.
kind of streamline the job descriptions and make them up to date. But no, we're not.
We're just describing what they're currently doing.
I will say though, we did upgrade the deputy EMS director to a paramedic required education piece rather than third. And typically this person has always done a paramedic anyway, so, but Casey said with the sickness of their department and just like being part-timers and volunteers, she feels this position really needs to be a paramedic level. Yep. They have now. Not necessarily, no. This is a brand new position. It may, but typically if it's just revisions.
Jared moved to approve the descriptions.
Any other? I assume that Casey has been called for the.
Yes, Stacy is the main one that did the revisions. And such.
Or all, yeah,
Right.
Pipestone or whatever. Anytime. Schedule. Never hurts.
Come on, up, more the merrier. Good morning.
Faces, so I'll introduce myself. I'm the general manager of Lincoln Pipestone Rural Water, and next to me is one of my 11 bosses. Earl Billy, and I believe one of my other commissioners, Rod Spunk, maybe. Typically, I come every year to all the counties and just give a brief overview of our audit and some activities that we've incurred over the last few years, or the last couple of years. This year was a little odd. Our normal audit firm actually dropped us as a client. I believe it was because they became overwhelmed, had some staffing changes, and they had to make some cuts. And we were one of the unfortunate ones to make a cut.
Wow.
So we were on the scramble of finding a new auditor firm, and apparently that's a market that's really tough right now. So we were able to find one. We actually found a pretty good one based out of South Dakota that actually has rural water system clients. So that was beneficial, but it took all year long to get this finalized. So the 2022 audit, oh my God, I already introduced you there. The 2022 audit was performed by Wollenberg, Ritzman and Company out of Yankton, South Dakota. Like I said, they have other rural water systems in South Dakota that they work with. I believe each of the counties should have received a electronic. So I will refer to like 2-3 pages on that, just keep it in brevity because it's I think 41 pages long, and I don't want to incur all 41 pages. So on page 1, the audit, the accounting firm rendered the opinion of the 2022 audit a fair and clean opinion. On table 5 shows there's a table, or on page 5 there's a table there that shows the net position of organization for 2022. The total assets at year end was $93,265,787. That was an increase of 237,000 change over the prior year. Total liabilities for year end was $34,385,000. That was a $424,000 decrease over 2021. There was $11,792,000 change in unrestricted funds that's used for ongoing operation obligations. And as you can see on that table, we've got 2 entries there for deferred outflows and deferred inflows. That's all pertained to para. The total net position as of the end of the year was $59,193,220. That's an increase of $891,000 or 1.5% over 2021. Flipping to page 6, shows the table there shows the total charges for services, capital gains, or capital grants and investment income. Revenue for Lincoln Pipestone at the end of the year was $9,701,219. That's a decrease of just slightly over $500,000 or 5.8%. The total operating expenses for year end was $8,810,178. That's an increase of $460,000 or 5.5%. So relatively stable on both accounts. I always note every year that Lincoln Pipestone funds depreciation, and that's shown as expenses in the audit. And any grant dollars or any money from hookups is not reported as operating income, but as equity. Scooting over to page 7, the top shows the capital assets. That equated to $66,596,000, a decrease of just only 1.7% in the system investments. And you can see the bulleted points there. The 3 bullet points are some of the system improvements. We added some fleet and some equipment to our fleet. The completion of the 36th city connection that we have is city of Rushmore down in this county, where they are 36th community that we serve. And total add-ons, we had, and I'll cover more of the hookups, but we had add-ons totaling just under $1 million. The undepreciated cost of the physical assets of the system at year end was $123,199,946. That's an increase of $1.4 million over 2021. The depreciation on our assets totaled $3,371,000. And at the bottom of page 7, you'll see the total outstanding debt. The revenue bonds for year end is $31,842,000. Total indebtedness decreased $1.2 million, or roughly 3.8%. The prior year, we took a lot of advantage of refinancing. We were really aggressive then. Last year, that slowed down, and it was pretty much just payments at that point. Lincoln Pipestone was not in any particular capital improvement program or project, so we didn't incur any major expenses on the federal side. So there was no single audit performed this year, so you need to avoid that. So that kind of summarizes our audit for the year. Hopefully, now that we're on board with this new audit firm, that we can turn around a little bit quicker. I think from our commission is advocating more of a spring approach. So we'll see maybe a little bit earlier than after Thanksgiving. Regarding the activities, since we've essentially got 2 years, I'll cover a little bit of both on the hookups. In 2022, Lincoln Pipestone connected 59 new rural customers throughout its entire system. Giving a comparison, year prior, we had 84 hookups. Prior to that, we had 53 and 40. So outside of the 84, the norm is around 40 to 60 that we experience throughout our system every year. In Pipestone in particular, of those 59 new rural hookups, 54 of them were residential hookups and 5 livestock confinements. And just a reminder, on the north end of our system, we have a moratorium on any large hookups or cities until we find a new water source, and we're working on that too, and I'll cover that in a little bit. As of this year, we hooked up 52 new hookups, and 2 customers bought an additional 8 capacity units. We charge for extra volume. That's called a capacity unit, and that equates to 50,000 gallons a month. For Pipestone in particular, in 2022, there was 8 hookups, 6 of which were being assessed. In 2023, in Pipestone County, we had 5 new hookups, of which all 5 are currently being assessed. As far as the projects, we're gearing up for our North Water Source project, which involves a new source up by the community of Boise, Minnesota, a treatment site, a treatment plant, and a main transmission that's going to connect to our northern water source, our Burr source, to help alleviate transmission inabilities at this point. We did receive a grant from Rural Development. Just recently, we were awarded a $26 million loan and a $2.2 million grant. Like I said, we're gearing up for that. We're getting the application. We also were fortunate to receive some funding from the state level. We got $11.5 million from the state in the last bonding package. All of it was general fund, so there's no match that's required of us. Of that 11.5, 4 of it is targeted for our Holland improvements. So we are looking at biota to get that done. And for those that aren't familiar with biota process, it is using bacteria naturally occurring out of the ground to change nitrates down to nitrogen gas and gas off. So we try to reduce the whole nitrate issue. And we actually did a pilot about 10 years ago to the effect, and we were pumping in 20 parts per million nitrates, and it was taking it below 1 part per million. So we know it's effective. Unfortunately, the city of Cold Spring beat us to the punch, and they've already got this treatment in place, so that they've got this going. That's okay. We'll see how that goes for them. So we've got, like I said, we've got some funding from that, equaling 4 million. We also received 2.5 million for storage up at our Burr water treatment plant site, and 5 million for system improvements and another tower on the north end. We are currently working with the city of Lake Benton in putting in a new office shop. We currently have our workplace in a retrofitted house. If anybody been up in Lake Benton? We are growing. We are finding new needs, and the city has gratis us some acres on top of the hill that they own in the annex portion. They want us to stay in the community, so we're working toward that endeavor. Like I mentioned earlier, we have connected our 36th community in the city of Rushmore. We still have communities that are looking for hooking up with us. We've got cost estimates out there throughout our system. The fight for finding water or obtaining water is never ending. Our board has elected to purchase another 500,000 gallons per day from Osceola County Rural Water in Iowa. We already are a connection or a member with them and buying water, so we bought an additional 500,000 gallons a day. And in the future, we're going to be getting another 660,000 gallons from Lewis and Clark, and all of which those two sources come up into the southern Pipestone County area. So we're aggressive of obtaining water as well as securing treatment of our own. And outside of that, Commissioners Mitch Quinn, who represents Yellow Medicine, Lackaparle, and Redwood County, and Bill Upton, who represents Northern Lyon County, have been approved by all the counties and the district court to serve another 4-year term on the election. Any questions? So we get water from Lewis Park at about 1.1 million gallons per day. Yep, already. And we actually can deliver it in 2 different locations. Our quote unquote original location is near the community of Adrian. Our board was pretty aggressive, and at the time, Lewis and Clark hadn't gotten an advancement from the state of Minnesota. But water development was going to come past Laverne and connect with Rock County. So our board elected to financially make a second connection happen. And so we have a shared connection at the community of Magnolia. So now we have two areas of moving Lewis and Clark water. And it's great because we can move it up to our new pump station by Edgerton, over to the Chandler area and back down. We do this either way. So it provides us flexibility, redundancy, everything in the world of water operator supplier could have. So yes, we get 1.1 right now that we're bought into, and here when the plant and source gets expanded from Lewis and Clark, we'll get another 660,000 gallons a day. So we'll be up to 1.7.
That water, or what your guidelines for your rates?
Yeah, there
Doesn't cost you money to get that water.
it does, but it is the cheapest that we are purchasing. A very inexpensive water, but then they're producing it on a mass volume. They're supplying 20 members, of which we're one of them, but one of those members is the city of Sioux Falls.
What is the average cost to hook up to water?
So as of this year, it is 16.5. The board, we've been monitoring that and watching how things have changed. The cost of parts, materials, pipe, particularly pipe and brass, have skyrocketed. So our board has changed that. It hadn't changed in, yeah, it's been a long time since we've made a change. But we've added both on the hookup and the capacity portion of a hookup. So now the total cost for a hookup is $18,500. So we've gone up $2,000. Yeah, so a portion of the hookup is called a capacity fee. There's the construction part, and then there's this capacity, which you're buying back into the system, buying back to the source. So that portion of the 2,000 was $1,000 of it. So that was applied both to the rural customers, and then the capacity fees for municipalities got bumped up. They're calculated differently, but they also got bumped up $2 per gallon on their costs to help on the bulk rate. And I'm not as privy as to this as my commissioners here, but yeah, it seems like it never gets stable. It's constantly pursuit of something, either improvements or additional water sources. And now that we've gone through some drought scenarios, we knew that we were on the right track to secure additional water and treatments.
77, that's when it was first sign up, and my landlady would not sign up for it, so. It's one of those deals. She had dug a well a year before. So the review for clean, safe water is invaluable for everybody, farmers and drinkers. Thank you for the work that you do.
And that is the message that we try to tell the decision makers up in St. Paul too. The value of water and what it brings to this part of the state.
Mhm.
Any issues with your current water sources?
As far as
Sustainability.
issues that I can foresee, I mean, we're doing our due diligence, finding whether we have our own sources or we're purchasing elsewhere for long-term viability. It's just some of the hiccups along the way, such as nitrate issues that we have to overcome for state regulation. So there's a cost to that. But I think we are doing our due diligence is making sure that we don't overburden ourselves, don't sell so much that we find ourselves in a pickle. So that's why we continue to find new sources.
I mean, the current sources seem to recharge enough that they're not like in danger of running out at some point, or.
Original water source. Help expand that.
So there's always a concern. We will have to monitor that, all our sources pretty tight with the DNR. So in particular, one source, our first source actually has thresholds because of the fens that exist up in that area. And so we monitor that quite well. What Rod was explaining was at our Verdi source, our original source is right along the state line. Our board decided to go and there was an opportunity to expand that well field into South Dakota. So now we have 2 additional wells there, and we pursued permit capacity on the South Dakota side for long-term as well. So now we have the management ability to operate 2 different states, 2 different permit realms, and function operationally where we can turn some wells on and off and stuff like that. Yeah, water quality and water quantity are always issues that we have to.
I'm guessing permitting in South Dakota is a little easier than Minnesota.
A little bit. And we do things a little different over there than we do here. So it's treated differently. Oh, good questions.
We also find some
So we have a connection up adjacent to Lake Cochran. That Brookings Dual Rural Water serves the Lake Cochran cabins, well, homes, permanent homes down.
Okay.
A number of years ago, we made a connection, it's only like a half mile to our treatment plant. And so we actually buy 35 million gallons a year from them. Little bit of a safety net, but actually, now that we're connected with them, the water quality that they provide us, kind of helps us on the water quality. We provide our constituents on that end. So it's kind of, yeah, we have our own source in South Dakota. We buy from Brookings Dual, a small amount, and we buy a fairly good amount from Lewis and Clark. Lewis and Clark's source, for those that don't know, it's always perceived that it's coming from the river. It is not from the river. It's actually from sands and gravels beneath the river. So there might be some head pressure from the river, but as long as the river is there and flowing water, the assumption is you're always going to have that source. Yep, so the southern border that we serve customers is the Iowa border. Don't have any customers in Iowa, nor do we have any customers in South Dakota. Outside of Rock County rural water, which the natural barrier is the granite, the quartzite ridge there.
Mhm.
We don't like to play along that ridge. So we go all the way up to Highway 212 that goes by Dawson, Montevideo area. And so we've got some customers right along on the north side. So in 10 counties, we've got 4,800 customers, and it takes us a couple hours to get one into the other. So okay, so on the east side, we go from South Dakota all the way to there's two parts of the system. In the southern part, Jackson County, we go into about two townships into Jackson County. And on the northern part of our system, we get not quite to Redwood Falls, but in the Echo, Seaforth, Vesta area. We serve those communities.
Really Southwest Minnesota.
Yeah, we're the largest in the state. We have the most customers. We serve the most communities for rural water systems.
Change the name for this.
Instead of rural to regional, that's been thought of and discussed. One fact I like to throw out, particularly when I do presentations up in the cities that don't have a concept of what rural water is that we have nearly 3,400 miles of pipeline. Still doesn't probably ring a bell until I explain, well, if I put all that pipeline into that, I can go from Cottage Grove, Minnesota area, or from one of the suburbs, along I-94 all the way out to Seattle and back. And then the light bulbs go off and we say, well, how many operators do you have? So I have to explain, oh, we only have, 12, 14 operators maintaining that. And now they start to formulate. Well, thank you very much.
That's great.
If you have any questions, now give me a call.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, we get the third quarter budget report. That shouldn't take more than just a couple of minutes here unless you have any questions on it. Went through this would be for the third quarter of the year. You have them all listed on your chart front and back and see what we're going on, what's happening. But all in all, I see no total anomalies. The biggest one that looks like a change there is the enhanced 911, but you got to remember part of that budget is also a restricted account too. So they're buying equipment out of that. So that's why it looks out of hand. It's not all coming out of the revenue fund. They've got two different accounts in 911. So they bought some equipment this year to replace. That's really what's really going on there. So that one might look a little odd to you. But other than that, everything is in order through the end of September, as far as I can tell. So, and if you have any specific questions, I did provide a copy of the budget report for your records too, if you want to review that at your convenience too. So,
Moved and seconded, any comments? Questions? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, same sign. Carried.
thank you for that. Next, if may, let's do the 2024 CHIPS Child Protection Legal Services Contract. Sounds kind of weird if anybody remembers the 70s TV show, so, but no comparison at all. This is a very serious contract that, this is the same contract as last year. There are no changes in the pricing on it. The only thing that has changed on it are the dates. So both companies, Runchi Lawaji and Wellman, and also Kayla Johnson with the firm of Smith and Johnson, are agreeable to provide contract services for child protection cases again for 2024. I'd recommend that the board approve both of these contracts, and I will get them signed by them and bring it back to you for signatures.
There a motion to- There a second to that one?
Thank you.
Seconded. Any other questions? The same last year, but didn't go.
No changes in prices, and you will see these on your vouchers, and you look at court administration, you'll see something that'll say CHIPS cases or the law firms, and those are what those are for.
So it's a pretty good rate.
They are really good rates, yeah. Our last rate increase was 2 years ago, so we're in the second year of the same rate, so. Thank you. Thank you. And I'll let Natalie Reich know, County Court Administrator, that that was approved. Thank you. Yes, we will. They will both be here at 10 o'clock. Okay. Okay.
I proposed 5%. I know we knew that when we first started talking budget units again. I still stay with 5%. I just want to make a suggestion in need. That's fair. I would like to note something that was kind of interesting yesterday. Every week, county attorneys association holds a Zoom meeting, and they discuss this variety of subjects. I don't go to them because I really don't want to have any input in those things. But one of the topics that rose to the head in the last month, and that they talked about yesterday, was there's concern amongst county attorney offices around the state not being able to match salaries of the public defender's office, because now the state has kicked a whole bunch of money into the public defender's office court system, so they can get more people to apply for those positions. So yesterday, the email came out, and there were about 20 different assistant county attorney positions around the state where the offices have lost people in the public defender's office. And the one that stood out to me was someone in a metro county that by jumping ship at a $30,000 pay increase, instead of $150,000 a year to be in the public defender's office. I don't know if that was supervisory. I would assume so, because that's a lot of money for a line worker who's going to court. But they talked about all these people jumping ship because of the pay increases. So I just want to bring that to your attention, but you know, if you're okay with 5, I'm okay with 5. Just so you know, too, we've had an ad out the last 2 months for someone to join our office, budgeted for a new assistant, and to join private. We haven't had one application. None. And that is a trend that's been going on outstate here for the last 3 or 4 years. Even the public defender's office, before they up their pay, weren't getting any hits when they need to fill someone out of the marshal office. Phillips County has been notorious for having a hard time getting people to come and fill positions as they come and go. And just not seeing people want to come out here, even private law firms, have been looking for people, trying to add an associate because they got to work and they need the people because of retirement. They're not getting any takers either. We're just not seeing attorneys want to come out here. I don't think it's the pay quality of life, it's just that. Got any questions for me? Need to make a motion?
Move that we set the 5% increase for the sheriff or attorney and assistant county attorney.
Perfect, thank you.
I'll second that.
We appreciate the fact that you, yeah. You know, realize that we're a small county, we need to budget appropriate.
Yeah.
Out of our limits. Yeah.
Aye.
You.
Anyone would be here very long.
Thank Destiny for her work as well.
Every time you say that. I appreciate that she's there and that she's
Yes.
doing what she's doing. That'd be true. Very too bad it couldn't get taken. I'm gonna show some interest.
On,
You don't have enough attorneys in the county the way it is. I mean.
that was
you
gonna be my
lose-
question.
Yeah, you lose Bob Marley through age. You lose Bill Scott through age, you lose Dave Trix through age. Jeff Jones just kind of went from practicing to really not doing much except for doing some city attorney. He kept practicing, they haven't left. So now you're down to Scott Bardus, who's retiring, they're trying to get out. Destiny and me.
Mm-hmm.
And then Doug Eisen down, sometimes office in the Vern, one day a week too. I can't remember Doug's schedule. You don't have enough attorneys.
Do you think there are attorneys in training going to college in the pipeline? So I think a lot of this is due to attrition, retirements, and we just don't have the attorneys coming forward.
Pathway for bars down for some reason. Okay. Harder than I would.
Mm.
Some other reason, but pathway's down. So you're not having as many law school graduates actually getting licensed in practice. But between you, St. Thomas, Mitchell Hamlin,
Mhm.
there's as many, if not more, law students now coming out than I graduated in '83. And you still have, a lot of people want to go, and we hit up all the law schools in the area, looking for some recent graduate. The bar was just taken in, they would have taken the bar in July, I think. We got the results in October.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a bunch of new people out there. Hope that some of the rural law schools think, hey, yeah, I something like that. But let's keep on advertising and hope.
This does coincide with legalized marijuana.
What do you think about that? So that's kind of the status.
Yeah, thank you.
Good enough.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too. Morning.
Right.
all our deputies are gonna get a pretty good bump and stay in. That's what you want to do, is keep the position. Not about me, it's about the position more. As they said, chief deputy and lieutenant will be right behind that number, so we gotta stay out of it a little bit, so. And they know he wants this job.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. It's not totally finished yet, so. But just for the board's information, the amount we have recommended here is in the budget as well. Was what we used for salary 121. This group, we're giving you the information that the recommendation is coming from, no, it's coming from administration, from me and Kathy working together on it, come up with the information on it. Since this is out of the personnel committee range, being he's an elected official, so it's a little bit different than, there really is no pay plan or anything like that for it. So we're trying to go with years of service, salaries around the area. There's trying to keep him competitive with that. And also, again, what Keith mentioned with staff as well. Well, if you take a look at, you've got a few higher and a few lower, and yeah, yeah, we're above that. We're way above the minimum for the year.
Had a regional salary spreadsheet too, just kind of. Right.
Second. Comments, questions?
Thanks for.
Yeah, I agree, definitely. Yes. Good.
First question to ask, who's that?
We're not ready to.
No.
Our last deputy's on his own now, so.
Yeah.
You know,
No. I tell administrators the same thing, as I can't tell you how fortunate we are, and they're going, oh my God, we have 3, 4. Good people, good management, good support from the board.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, you can see from our neighbors what can happen when it doesn't work out that way.
Yeah.
Well, they went through a tough patch there for a while.
Yep.
all in favor, say aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Keith. Mr. Chairman, only else I have just a reminder of upcoming meetings, AMC conference coming up, December 3rd through the 6th. All commissioners except Dan are scheduled to go to that. You should. I had a weird one yesterday that they canceled one of Luke's reservations at the Hyatt. That was they somehow in their system had doubled up on multiple rooms on a number of people. So I called them right away because the number that they had didn't match the one I had in my email that I got from them. So it was not, they said, nope, don't worry about it. It's all taken care of. It was an internal thing. And I said, I'm getting lots of calls, she said. So you're not the only one. So on the 11th, we have the Truth and Taxation meeting at 7 p.m. Everybody in the county by now should have received their TNT notices as well. So I don't know if you'll be getting any calls or questions on that or anything like that. 12/12, a regular board meeting at 9, also on the 26th. And also PCMC on the 26th as well. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Sure. Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
10:11 a.m. Thank you.